At the moment, whether you see this component or this component depends only on whether there's a UID in state, right? But it seems like they should have two different URLs as well. Like maybe this is localhost 3000 / sign-in, and this is, after we sign in, localhost 3000 / notes. So let's make two different routes for those. So where should I do that? Where are we deciding between main and sign in? Which component are we deciding between those two in? App, yep. Cool. So we should probably import some stuff here. What should we import? What should we import to create routes for those? What's one thing that I should import to make routes for those two things? Switch? Yeah, that seems reasonable. Import switch from React Router DOM, because we're only going to show one or the other. So we're also going to need route, right? So we need route and switch. So right now what we're doing is we're just using this ternary to decide whether we see main or sign in. I'm going to leave that there for the moment. Let's go ahead and add this switch. Gosh dang it, come on. And then we can put some routes in here, and the first one it finds, it's going to match, and then it's going to stop looking. So let's add a route. Path equals, excuse me, path equals / sign in. Let's make another one, route path equals / notes. So this one will go to sign in, right? It doesn't have any props, so it seems like I could just use component. But main has props, so I can't use component. What do I have to use? I have to pass it a render method. So render, then I could just pop this in there. So let's see, will this do the right thing? It did not do the right thing. But I could say /* */*. All right. So I'm going to leave that in there. I'm going to comment it out. So now if I just go to localhost 3000, I get nothing. But if I go localhost 3000 / sign in, I get the sign in page. And if I go / notes, I get the notes form. So now instead of being based on your authentication status, it's based on the URL. So we want the URL to change between those two, but we still want it to be based on your authentication status. So how can we change this? What can we do differently? Basically, I still want it to check this stuff. So let's start with making it work when you're on /notes. So I'm going to put parentheses around this so I can put it on more than one line. So here's my render method for this route. If we go to /notes, right now it just renders main. But I kind of want it to do this thing. I kind of still want the ternary there. So I could say If I'm signed in, do main. If I'm not signed in, do sign in. So I could just do the ternary inside this render method here if you're on /notes. So I'm on /notes. Let's try logging out. No, does that even work anymore? Refresh the page. I'm still there, even though I don't see anything. So if I'm on /notes and I'm signed in, I want to see this. Otherwise, I want to see the sign-in page. Why isn't that doing anything for me? Go to /notes, run this render method. If I'm signed in, show main. If I'm not, show sign in. What is my state right now? I still have UID null. So it seems like I shouldn't be seeing this. So if I go here, I see nothing. If I go to sign in, I see sign in. If I go to /notes, I still see main. Doesn't seem right. Excuse me? I have not saved it. That is important. Thank you. There we go. So now I'm on /notes, but I'm signed out. But I'm on the sign-in page. So I kind of want to do the same thing up here. So instead of just saying component sign-in, I'll put a render method again. So render, well, I'll put this on multiple lines again. And I can just do the same render method. So now if I'm on /sign-in and I'm signed out, I get the sign-in page. If I go to /notes, I get the sign-in page because I'm signed out. If I sign in, now I'm on notes and I get main. And if I go to sign in, I still get main. So this doesn't seem like this is how we want it to ultimately work. So we want both things to happen. We still want the sign-in to be enforced, but we want the URLs, we want these routes. So what can I do differently? Well, if I go to /notes and I'm signed in, I want to render main. That's exactly what we want to happen. So if I type notes and I end up getting main, that's the ideal state. But if I'm signed out, I want to get the sign-in page, but I want the URL to change. So what could I do? Instead of just rendering sign-in here, I kind of want to redirect to the other route. I want the URL to actually change at that point. I don't just want to render the other component. I actually want the URL to change. Well, wouldn't you know it, React Router includes a component called redirect. And it works a lot like link or navlink. You just tell it where to redirect to. So if we hit /notes and we are signed in, render main, otherwise redirect to /signin. Instead of keeping the URL the same and rendering the other component, we'll actually redirect to the other route. So now I am signed in and I go to notes and I get exactly what I'm hoping for. I am signed in and I go to sign in and it renders main, which is not quite what I want. But if I'm signed out and I go to sign in, I get exactly what I expected. And if I am signed out and I go to /notes, now I get the sign in page, but it redirects me to /signin. So that's what I wanted. So we have all but one case working the way we wanted now. If I go to sign in, I get the sign in page while signed out. If I go to /notes while signed out, I go to the sign in page and it actually redirects me, changes the URL. That's what I wanted. So the case that isn't quite what I want is when I am signed in and I go to /signin. So /signin, but I get main. So I need to redirect here too. Go to /signin and I am signed in. I want to see main, but I want to actually redirect. I want to redirect to /notes. Make sense? So this isn't the most readable thing in the world. We could write a higher order component that does this with a little nicer syntax. We would have to use the same nasty syntax inside a different component. But we could make this, we could clean this up. We could make this more readable if we had time, which we don't at the moment. But so now if I go to /notes and I am signed in, I get notes. If I go to /signin and I am signed in, it redirects me to /notes. So that's exactly what I wanted to happen. So redirect based on authentication status. Questions about that? It's a little tricky. Now my URLs change appropriately. Yeah. There's not much difference between push and redirect. It's just kind of a question of whether you're doing it in JSX or whether you're doing it inside a function or something. So like if you're doing it like this, in the middle of your render, I'd use a component. I'd use JSX. If I were doing it inside some other method outside of render, then I would probably use history push. But they do accomplish the same thing. But generally, if there's a JSX way to do it down inside render, it's preferable. So like otherwise, we would get JSX here, but just a JavaScript thing here. But it would work. Yeah, just a style difference, really.